Good morning, everyone. There are three things in life I love: travel and adventure and reinventing myself. An opportunity for an awesome trifecta presented itself recently, and it was life-changing. I'm in a new job now, but over the summer I was in between jobs, so I had a little time. There I was on one of our beautiful beaches one morning, and the phone rang. Longtime friend Martha, who's lived in Europe forever, and who's been inviting me to visit forever, but it was never the right time. "Karen, is now the right time?" she said. "You know, Martha, I think it could be." So without much thought, I booked a trip. That was Tuesday, Friday. I booked 5 days, and 5 weeks rather, and 8 days later, I was on a plane. Fast forward, I arrived in France and began to fill in the rest of the trip. Planes, trains, hotels, Rome, Venice, Florence, the Cinque Terre, and all the associated awesome excursions, and then following with Sicily. I thought I was going to Europe to see art, history, culture, and I did, but what I had no idea would happen was that instead of up-leveling my European education, I would have a wholesale personal transformation. It started with two very poignant moments in nature. The first was when we'd arrived in the medieval Italian village where Martha lived. I was out for a hill walk one day and strolling up and down the curving, winding roads, beautiful stone wall on one side, lovely villages dotting the landscape on the other. Each little hamlet had its own church steeple, little houses, and I could hear church bells ringing in unison. There were olive trees planted everywhere. The region was planted in 1200 with olive trees, and they dotted the roadside. They were all along in the landscape, groves of trees, just growing freely. And it was magical. And I believe that ready for life to speak to you, it will. I was walking along, sweating bullets. It was 90 degrees there the whole trip. And something began to change in my awareness. I began to feel calmer and really present. The usual thought patterns that are here, there, everywhere, all centered and came back. And it ain't my first rodeo in terms of an interesting spiritual experience. I'm a longtime meditator and chill seeker, but this felt different. It was so organic and so natural and so complete that I believed that that was one of those times when life was waiting for me to step into a different space, a different way of being, and to change me. And I felt changed on that walk, on that day. And it set the tone for the trip. Fast forward a few weeks through all those adventures I was telling you about, awesome times in Rome, Venice, Florence, the Cinque Terre, Sicily. One of my bucket list items for the trip was a lavender field in Provence. I got lucky. It was the end of the season for lavender and found one. We were 15 minutes off of the main road, winding again up the beautiful mountain roads, then down a couple gravel roads, and then boom, a burst of purple. Gorgeous blue sky set against the mountains, centuries-old family farms that will never be developed or sold. They are all about the lavender. Bees buzzing, the scent in the air. And again, a magical experience. Some sort of energy or space that felt different in that environment. And in that space, I felt a deep, complete, embodied, quiet joy that I don't know if I had ever felt before. And it was so holy. A lavender field gave me that. So as I began to wrap up the trip, I thought about what I really gained and the souvenirs that I got. And when I thought back to the nature portions of it, I realized it stoned me to my soul. That's Van Morrison's line from his song, It Stoned Me, and It Stoned Me from his Moondance album. He's talking about mystical experiences in nature as a child. that get you high, so high that you don't need anything else to be high. And stone me it did. Now that I'm back, yes, I bought this ring in Murano, artisanal glassmakers. I'm wearing a perfume today that I made myself at a 400-year-old fragrance house in France. But the souvenirs I brought back and that really changed me were that I almost don't recognize myself in daily life. My response to situations that are so typical is different now. More patience, more compassion, more peace, more grace, less self-criticism, less self-judgment. It's actually miraculous. So the souvenirs I brought back from my trifecta trip of adventure, travel, and reinventing, to me, the opportunity to shed a few layers of my old self and be something new is the best souvenir of all.
Yes. Oh,